This is the third video in the sandwiching series, the final video in the sandwiching series, where I'm going to show you how to explain the examples that we did in video number 2. So in video 1 we learned about introducing the examples, in video 2 we learned about finding actual examples, and the example gets sandwiched, remember, in between an introduction and an explanation. The explanation is the most important part of the essay for you because this is where you show your thinking. The rest of the essay is just structure. It's just all about putting the right things in the right spots. But this part is where you actually get to show off your thinking and show what a good thinker you can be. So I'm going to show you some examples about how to do this. One of the things that I'm going to tell you first is what these points of explanation are not. They are not places to brain barf. They are not places to retell the plot. They are also not places to put extra examples from the text. What they are is a place for you to show your thinking. And I want to just once again refer you to these prompts on, it's a few pages after the outline, on page 18, I think, of the notes, which give you some ideas about how to start your points of explanation, points of analysis, if you can't think of anything. So you can say when compared to, or this shows or demonstrates that, or if this, then that, if Percy did this, then that would happen, or if Percy had not done this, then this would happen. This is the outcome of, or other possible outcomes of this situation might have been. This occurred because, an explanation of this is, or the way in which this happens is, or this is like something because. So these are some ideas for just getting you started thinking about what you can say about your examples. So back on the paragraph page on the outline, remember too that another Kickstarter for you when you're thinking about your examples and what you can say about them is how can you tie this example right here, just when I'd started to feel accepted, to feel I had a home in cabin 11, to the idea of community versus isolation, and back to the thesis statement, which is that Percy transforms. So tying into the thesis statement is clearly that he has not changed yet. So you can make the point here that he has not changed yet. So, so when I started thinking about it and when I read the text, the first thing that I came up with was, well, he's whining. That's an analysis. It's a valid analysis, so I'm going to put that down. Now I can say more about that in the actual draft, but I'm just going to make a note to myself here that one of the points I want to make is that he's whining. Now, point 2, I'm going to go back to, it does show that he has not changed yet. And going back to the prompts, that is one that I got from the prompt page. This shows or demonstrates that. This shows that he has not changed yet because, sorry, I made a mistake there. He has not changed yet because a true hero wouldn't whine. And then another prompt that I used is this is the outcome of, or this is the result of, his life experience up to this point. He doesn't understand that he's really not alone. But his life experience up to this point has made him very isolated. So he's going to go there first before he goes anywhere else in his mind. So you see that in these examples, I am not brain barfing. I am not retelling the plot. I am not citing other examples from the text. I am simply talking about this one example and how it relates back to the topic statement and back to the thesis statement. In my second example, this is an after example where he says, I'd spent thousands of miles worried that I'd be betrayed by a friend, but these friends, and the rest of the quote goes on to say, would never do that. They had done nothing but save me over and over, and now they wanted to sacrifice their lives for my mom. So this is his aha moment. This is the moment that he emerges from his innermost cave, and his hero's journey too. So it's a big moment for him. And I can talk about that in my points of analysis. So I can say that it shows that he truly understands. Now again, I need to tie it back to my topic statement. I'm talking about the theme of community versus isolation, so I do need to say something about community here. So I'm going to say this shows that, and again, there's that prompt, this shows that he truly understands the community of friendship he has formed with Annabeth and Grover. This is the moment, and I can just cite, this is the hero's journey. He emerges from his innermost cave. It is the moment that he has this big aha realization, and he emerges from the innermost cave. Now, this is also, this explains, so an explanation for this is, an explanation for his becoming a true hero is his willingness to sacrifice what he wants most for the sake of his friends. So that makes him a true hero. So again, these things, I'm using a combination of the prompts on the other page and my own thinking to come up with ways to tie this example back to the topic statement and back to the idea that Percy has changed. So between these two sandwiches, one where I show at first he's alone and isolated and later he is part of a community, I do show that he changes, which is our thesis statement, because the whole point of this body paragraph is to prove what you were saying in your thesis statement about the fact that he changes. So that is the way that you're going to do an example. You do the exact same thing for paragraph 3, where you look at the examples that you have and you tie them back to the idea that Percy changes. So I'm not going to necessarily go through how to do this again here because it is pretty much the exact same thing. Basically, you have to show in these examples that Percy is troubled and how my shield was the size of an NBA backboard. It weighed about 1,000,000 pounds. I might say something about the fact that that shows how small and weak he feels and how troubled he is because he can't even handle a shield in a little game of capture the flag. And then as the story progresses, I was holding back the tide by force of will, and I can go on to talk about what a powerful hero he is because he can hold back the entire Pacific Ocean. And again, I can talk about how figurative language helps to convey those emotions, because remember, figurative language is all about the emotions. So that is how to put in the points of analysis in your body paragraphs. So again, these are my examples of my points of analysis and explanation, tying this example back to the topic statement and back to the theme, the thesis that Percy changes.